Hello, my beautiful cuddlebugs. Welcome to Ramblings of a Book Dragon, where we dive into the warmth of good books and unravel stories that feel like a literary hug. I'm Allie, your host, and I'm thrilled to embark on another cozy adventure with you. So grab a cup of your favorite beverage, snuggle into your cozy reading nook, and let's begin. Before we do, please feel free to like, comment, and subscribe so that you won't miss a single episode. I really value your feedback and book recommendations. Now let's begin. Today is Christmas Day, December 25th, if you are celebrating, so happy holidays, Merry Christmas, all that jazz. And we are finally in the last saga of Epic the Musical, the Ithaca Saga. And it's hard to believe that this all started last year with the releases, and now it's not over. It's the beginning of something new and exciting. And it's nice to see that all of the hard work has paid off and now it's fully completed. And I can't even imagine what kind of relief that is. And now the work truly begins with showing like wherever he wants to take the musical. Like if he wants to take it to Broadway, if he wants to take it to the movies or a show, whatever it is that he's planning on doing. I'm very excited to continue to follow along with this. So it's not the end, it's a new beginning, but it is the final official release. And until, of course, we get to any other releases, and like if there's an official Broadway production, if that cast makes a production, and hopefully he'll eventually release a full album of all of the songs like that. So it's all going to be very exciting. But we follow up with After the Storm with Odysseus, and we get to back onto Ithaca. And before I begin my review and overview of the songs, I do want to say that there are mentions of implied and planned SA, as they say. I'm not popular enough for any demonetization, but I'd rather just not upset the YouTube cause, so I am going to say other words, so please don't hate me. But yes, there is planned SA in some of the songs, so there's going to be a slight discussion about that. And so if that is something that you would rather not listen to, I would completely understand, but I just wanted to provide that trigger warning. And that was actually something that I thought was really nice in the Epic the Musical Discord server. The mods, whoever it is, they had posted that as well, about how, yes, this does have that, like the entire musical is chock full of violence and murder and all sorts of horrible things, but it's nice that they actually did provide that trigger warning that this is a safe space. Like there is opportunity for discussion, but it's in regards to this saga itself, like not general things like that. Like they want to protect the mental health of the community, which I thought was very nice and sweet of them. But we begin with the challenge. There are 5 songs, so we begin with the challenge, and it's Penelope making her plans. Like she's describing what she's done for even who knows how long she had been doing all of this too, with holding back the suitors at bay. And that really shows just how strong and cunning she is, that like, hey, there's over 100 suitors that are trying to vie for her hand in marriage to become king of Ithaca. And she's like, okay, I'm going to make a shroud, and I'm not going to choose a husband until I'm done with the shroud. However, what they don't know is that every night she undoes the shroud, so she has to start over every single day. Like that takes patience. That's patience right there. And so she's talking about that, and then she realizes, oh wait, this storm, is it possible that like this was a weird storm? Is it possible I need to start planning my next challenge? I need to start to plan the big challenge, to plan things out for Odysseus to help him. And I thought that was really greatly written. I mean, it's also in the original, but still, the way that it was worded in the song, I thought was really great. And so the plan is that first they have to string her husband's old bow. They have to do that. So once they get it actually strong, then they have to actually let loose an arrow through 12 axes, and it has to be cleanly through. So and whoever does this will become king and rule beside her, and she will be their queen. So like, she's going to let them know this, and so she's letting them know about this challenge, and she knows that their patience is running thin, so she and Telemachus are in danger, which is where we get into Hold Them Down, which is when a lot of that discussion of SA takes place, because Antinous, it's the day of the challenge, and he's like, this is stupid, this is idiotic, why are we doing this? We've been doing this for hours, no one's really been able to even so much as actually string this bow. And I would be interested to see, like, in the animatics, like, are we going to see like Odysseus moving forward to string the bow? Because but he's saying like, well, Telemachus was also out on a diplomatic mission, so why don't we just end this now? Why don't we end this here and unalive Telemachus, or whatever it is that they would allow me to say now, but they would get rid of him. And this is where like that little crack song came from that I was mentioning before, where we have the funny thing with the birthday and everything, but this time it's a lot more serious. So horrible, so very, very bad, especially since he was planning on, once they got rid of Telemachus, to go break down Penelope's door and assault her, do horrid, evil things to her, and just really, really bad things. But luckily, he is killed, and I'm guessing this is when Odysseus gets his bow and strings it. And so at the very end of the song, like, it's a really great song, like, and the guy who sings as Antinous, he does a great job of that menacing, but it's like that cold, menacing tone of voice that I thought was really great before. Just fantastic. Just like, how did someone word it before that I saw? It's like silk over knife, something like that, I think. But I thought it was just horrible stuff going on in that song. But but then at the end, he's taken out. And so it's like, oh, what's going on here? What's the situation? And that's when we get into Odysseus, and he knows his palace, he built it, and all the suitors are freaking out, and they're like, he's taking out the fires, he is a planner, he is a warrior, he's been a man fighting to get home for 20 years. And he even says at the beginning, like, I have been dealing with monsters and gods, I lost my men, I'm done. Like, we're not playing games. This is over. I'm done. And especially considering the fact that they were wanting to hurt Penelope and Telemachus, like, they signed their death warrants with this. And so he is just casually as can be hunting them down. And like, I can imagine the pure chaos, because like, he was darkening the place, and they're like, what's going on here? Because he's clearly a very smart man. And then they find a room with weapons in it, and like, why would he do this? He's a smart man. Why are all these weapons here? And he basically just got them all into that room to make it easier for him to kill them. And Telemachus, he was trying to help, and I thought it was really cool because you could hear Athena's little motif with him as he was trying to help. And they were going to actually use Telemachus as basically a shield of like, if you come closer, if you don't lay down your arms, I'm going to break your son's hands. And that's when Odysseus just goes straight into getting rid of all the suitors. And it's just, this compared to 600 Strike, with the acting and the violence between this one and 600 Strike, I liked this one a lot more. I'm just going to continue to complain about that song for this. I hope that if he ever just go back to rewrite, I really hope that he does something different with 600 Strike. I don't know why. I don't like whatever was going on with it, but that's beside the point. We're focusing on the Ithaca Saga. And so, but that's beside the point. I really liked the song. I mean, I actually really liked all of the songs, really, because it was all really well done. And you can really see how hard for the entire musical, you can see how hard he was working to get all the songs going really well. And I hope that he's very proud of himself, as well he should be. And the fact that he seems so sweet and nice and down to earth, Jorge, the writer. But so then in Odysseus, he gets rid of them all, and so he's able to help get Telemachus away from the suitors. And this is when we get into I Can't Help But Wonder, which is when Odysseus finally meets his son, his boy. He's like, I remember 20 years ago when I held you in my arms before I went away to war. And they're both kind of just, I can't help but wonder about what life could have been like. Like Telemachus, he's always wondered what kind of man his father is. Will you recognize me as your son? Like, and everything else that was going on there. And Odysseus just says, they have a very lovely moment. And then he says, tell your mother I'm here. And this is when I almost started crying, I think. But we get into a final, like, little go back to warrior of the mind when he says, show yourself, I can see you. And Athena's there. And so they had a really nice moment too. And you can really see Athena's character arc, because at the beginning in Warrior of the Mind, she was training Odysseus to be a warrior. And she really learned that she did him wrong. She shouldn't have pushed him so far. And then she abandoned him in a moment of crisis when he needed his friend, and she didn't want to be a friend. And so it was just interesting that she came back later and became Telemachus's friend and realized that, hey, there is more than one way to handle things. I mean, I thought it was a little bit, I'm going to say trite, but I know that's not the right word, but words are hard. But it was very much, I wish we could have learned all about empathy, and I hope for a future where empathy can be used more. Like, it was very sweet. It's like, you're the goddess of war and wisdom. Like, you are a warrior. And I have to wonder what she went through over those 7 years to get her to change from, you are a fighter, you need to kill him, you need to do this, to let's all be friends. I mean, she protected Telemachus and she helped him fight, but it was very different situations between father and son. And it was just, I mean, it was sweet. It just really, just a little bit with Athena. It's like, this is all over 20 years. And they just got off, they had just finished the Trojan War, so they are hardened warriors. And so it makes sense that is kind of that whole pushing for her. And so it's like she's had time to come down from the high of the war, essentially. But he's like, you're a goddess, you're going to live for forever. You can push to see that if you want, but I'm too far gone in this path. I'm an old dog, I can't learn new tricks. But I thought it was very sweet. And I hope that and it would be nice to think that she continued to be Telemachus's friend. And so finally, we get into, would you fall in love with me again? And Odysseus and Penelope finally see each other again. And he's like, would you fall in love with me again? And this was such a sweet song. But it's basically just like, I have blood on my hands. I've lost all my friends. There isn't a single island that I've gone on that hasn't had redness, blood. He's had to do so much to get home, and he's worried that she's not going to be able to see him in the same way. She's not going to be able to fall in love with him again because he's not the same man that she fell in love with. And she interrupts him and says, I thought this really shows her brilliance. She's like, oh, well, okay, but could you move that bed for me? And he's like, what are you talking about? This is our marriage bed. I carved it from a tree, the same tree that we met at before, the olive tree. I can't move this bed. What are you talking about? And she's like, yeah, so this means you're my husband. I thought that was I thought that was really cute. And so they like, yeah, of course I can fall in love with you again because you're my husband. She's been waiting for him for 20 years as well. Like they both changed. They both had to do a lot to survive. And who knows just what all Penelope did. Like we know she wove and unwove the shroud. Like we know that she's smart. She is a smart cookie. And it kind of pulled at my heartstrings a bit because when they finally, I'm sure it'll be a big smooch fest that they finally go into each other's arms and it's just so sweet. But we get a look back at Just a Man, the music from that. And it's just like, yeah, he is just a man. And now he's finally home and safe and free. And it's like, yes, I love you. And that's the end of Epic the Musical. I'm not crying. But yeah, I am so excited to see where this continues to go. And so, like I said, like, this may be the end of the new songs and the new releases, but this is truly only the beginning of Epic the Musical. Like this, now that this is the songs are all out, he can get to work with who knows how far this could go. And with how popular it is, like, who knows? And I'm really excited to continue to see where it goes. I've heard that there may potentially be merch, maybe some Winnie and plushies, like just so many different options and things for them to do. But that is it. And yeah, like I said, this has been just an amazing journey. And in fact, someone posted in Tier Maker the tier rankings for all of the different songs. And it was interesting just how different some of the ratings were between myself and like everyone, like most people. Like I guess no one really got into the A tier, which is like the bottom tier ranking, but it seems like most people just love all the songs, and I was a little bit harsher. I mean, all of the songs are good songs. Like I've said a million times, I will listen to the entire musical, even 600 Strike, even though that is by far my least favorite song between that and We'll Be Fine. But I would definitely I will definitely be continuing to stream and listen to the songs, and I'm really curious to see just how many streams and downloads the last Saga had. And so we'll just have to see where this continues to go. But like I said, I will catch you next time, my beautiful cuddlebugs. I hope you have a wonderful holiday and Merry Christmas to all. Bye.